Hi, my name is Tracey Martin. I am an immersive transformational life coach, and I am lucky enough to have one of my dear friends here with me today, asking me some pretty incredible questions. Quite often, I get to do the work and I get to be the ones interviewing, but today I decided to take the other role. And being asked these important questions of why I do my work, how I do my work, and what my view is on the world of coaching and just the world in general. So we're going to have a good time here, and I hope you guys really enjoy the in-depth questions that she's asking me and the answers, and then think about it for yourself, what you take away from this, and make it yours.
Thank you, Tracey, for sitting down with me today. I just have a few questions that I want to ask you. What is your main focus as a coach?
My main focus as a coach, honestly, is very layered. If I can go and have that layered question, it's to be in service, of course, to something bigger than myself. Is to look at generations and equip them to things that they may not have right now. And to honest, it really comes from a place of growth, to creating environments for growth for people that might not have had that opportunity beforehand. It's opening up our events and our workshops, and including the one-on-one coaching in that. It's really giving people opportunities to maybe learn and see things differently than what they might have had in the past.
What is an immersive transformational life coach? You say that often, especially in your books. What does that mean?
That means we get some work done. So a transformational life coach, these words are diluted in today's world so oftentimes. Transformation, transition, leveling up, all these things we hear in the coaching industry. But to be honest, immersively means that you get in and you get the work done. I take clients on hikes. I move in with people for 3 days. I work with nutrition, with wellness, with fitness, with relationships, with families, because we live out loud that way. We don't just have one area of expertise in our life. We have to have a holistic approach to living. So immersively means that we remap those memories and we show things differently than maybe what you've had in the past. So it creates an experience, a remapping, if you will, of something that you may not have had before. So it's really leveling up in those areas, but understanding that you're going to have to experience it in order to actually be able to walk it out the next time it shows up.
As a life coach, how have you seen the industry change?
That's a loaded question. So I have been in immersive transformational coaching for over 25 years. But before that, I was a personal fitness trainer. I've been a fashion designer. I'm very layered within this world, which I am very grateful for, that the layers were applied to me, if you will, because I know that I can meet people where they are. The industry is an interesting place right now. And this is not meant as a judgment as much as it is an observation. Being in the fitness industry for years, I saw it cannibalize itself. I saw it come out with the best of intentions to actually, change people's lives. And then it became this opportunistic showtime, basically, at this point. For me, with coaching, I take it very seriously. I know there's coaching schools popping up all over. I know that there's certifications popping up all over. For me, it's experiential. I don't want to judge anyone's path because I do believe that the messenger shows up as we're needed. But for me, if you're a business coach, you have to have experience in business on every single level. You have to be able to have gone through loss and through success and through failure in order to be able to actually show that. Life experiences, life coach, which again, not a fan of the term sometimes. Disruption is what I really like to do. I really love to look at a situation and think, how can we change this? How can we make this better? So the industry is going through a lot of growth right now itself, which should take time. So you shouldn't be able to get a certification in 3 days. Again, that's my observation. But I really stand strong on that because I want people, when you are called to be in service to someone, you have to show up 100%. And the only way you do that is by living, as by experiences. So the industry is in a very precarious place right now. It's going to be interesting to see, especially with a lot of what's going on right now. It's not just another revenue stream for me. This is my life. This is in my DNA. And to be in service is like breathing to me. And when I see someone take the skills and the tools that I have learned that I can apply through my curriculum and actually use them in the world, there's nothing better than that. It's more proud of a moment than a parent. When you realize that most coaches create a systemic downline, for me, I'm kind of known as the Nanny McPhee of coaches. So I get in there, I get the work done, and then I get the heck out because I want to see you thrive in life. And to witness that growth, nothing better than that. And it's got nothing to do with the revenue stream. It's purpose. It's a calling for me.
As a coach, what motivates you?
Life, my family, the kids I get to work with. I think it's everywhere. I think when there's injustices in the world, I want to stand up. I'm willing to have a voice that's willing to be criticized. I'm willing to stand up with the last one standing because I perceive in this world that we've got something pretty awesome to accomplish while we're here. And I think when I see a life of someone that actually speaks their desires and declares their dreams and then is paralyzed through fear or is paralyzed through comparison or judgment, I want to get in there and get them the skills and tools so they can actually walk that out and not just talk about it. A life that has never lived to the fullest potential is not a good situation. And they say that the graveyard is the richest place. And that's where all the dreams go that were never filled out to fruition. That's where all the ideas will never come to fruition. So my goal is to be that vessel and to be in service to helping that come alive.
Throughout the decades of being a coach, what have you noticed that has enhanced the issues of mental health? Is that social media? Is that the rise of things on the internet? What have you seen as a coach that's been kind of the catalyst for the amount of individuals that are suffering?
All of the above. I think that generations ago, when I first started, we had the same stuff in school. We had the bullying, we had the difficulties, but it wasn't a spotlight on it. We didn't necessarily wallow in that. We actually tried to grow through adversity. Parenting is a huge thing, when you give your kids the skills and tools to rise through adversity, because it's not whether it's going to happen, it's when it happens. When you live on social media, you're in a constant state of comparison. It's highlight reels all day long. There are a few people, of course, who show the real, and I applaud that. But more often than not, it's a beautiful thing for your grid. It's not necessarily the raw and realness. And that's really what people identify with. When you have an emotional connection with someone's journey, you can see yourself there. That's how you grow through that because you realize you're not the only one dealing with it. And as much as I love social media myself, I use it as inspiration. I use it to connect with, with the kids. I use it to connect with other people around the world, which is the beautiful part of the tool. And if we use it as that, I think there's all kinds of good that can come out of it. It's when it comes at a lower cost of our humanity of trying to figure out exactly where I fit, taking on someone else's identity because you're not sure of your own, and then being willing to have that conversation. So when I get to work with people, I get to tell them, you actually do have an authentic voice. We just have to figure out what that is. And when you take on someone else's identity, nothing is real.
How do you know when it's time to choose a life coach? And how do you know if you chose the right coach?
Interesting. That's an interesting question. So there's only two reasons why we change in this world. We either have done our work and we realize that we're ready for something more and we're ready to do the work and show up. Or we've gone through so much pain and so much adversity, we don't have an option not to at this point. The job of a coach is not necessarily to convince you of how important your life is and to convince you of how much of greatness that you have. The goal of a coach is actually to give you permission to show you what's out there and then help you walk through that. So finding the right coach is interesting. I would always tell people to interview a couple if you're more comfortable with a man or a woman, if you want someone that's more business or someone that's more life, because my whole thing is behind every CEO is a person. And I don't care what you do. I care who you are while you're doing it. And for me, that's how you show up. So finding a coach that actually meets you where you are is an auditing process for yourself, to be honest with yourself. To, if you need to work about, nutrition always goes into one area, but there's a reason why maybe you aren't healthy in that area. If you have an unhealthy relationship with money or finance, there may be a reason why. So we have to figure out what that is, audit yourself from a place of self-awareness, and then seek out, find the best people that you can, but ask for recommendations. That's the best way. I mean, reading about someone is great, but talking to people that have had experience with them is a whole nother ballgame. And then when you do have a coach, make sure you're ready to work because it's not a picnic. And when you're willing to do the work and you show up, that's worth your time and that's worth any amount that you can do. And you realize it's an investment in yourself. And I always tell people, always invest in yourself.
You've created some amazing curriculum that is for teens, that is for parents, that is for someone who's looking to transform their life. Which to you, when writing the curriculum, stuck out as your aha moment, this is my purpose? Which book to you really was the turning point of, I know that divinely I was given this message and it's now put in writing to help someone else? Which book to you really speaks to that?
I think it was my own journey through it. So I wrote the transformation declaration first because you're declaring a transformation within yourself. I came from such a layered, background that I realized that right here, right now is where I'm supposed to be. Courageous parenting is huge for me. We have young adults right now that want more, that are seeking more, and we're not always equipped as a parent. So being willing to see things through their eyes is really important. The teen curriculum came from a standpoint of they've got so many things at them and are pulling at them that they may not know where to go and what makes sense. And you can talk about entrepreneurialism or success, but what does that really mean and how does that define? It's not the person standing in front of the Lamborghini. That's great. You can do that if you want to. It's the person that's actually doing something more than bigger than himself. Because when you are in service to growth and something bigger than yourself, you realize that there's such a ripple effect. And the ripple effect is really what we talk about. A friend of mine gave me the most incredible compliment. And she said, T, you are the stone that's thrown in the water and your clients are the ripple effect that go out and impact the world. That's huge to me, to know that that's something that we created from nothing into all these people going out and walking out their life. I mean, there's nothing more that you can actually wrap your head around, So the curriculums actually meet people where they are in all the important areas of life. It can be, like I said, it can be well-being, it can be relationship, it can be dating, it can be family, it can be spirituality, it can be the foundation of communication. It can be all these things. And so each one is just a soundbite of digital content that you can take and apply immediately in your life. And then we'll get into the bigger transformation declaration, the master course, which is coming, which really requires you to really take a really deep look at yourself and realize why you do what you do, but not only identifying it, but no longer giving it power and never being loyal to an old version of yourself, because there's so much more on the other side.
And that leads me into my next question. Great segue of what is next? Tours, more curriculum. What is on the horizon for Tracey Martin?
Tracey Martin and her team. So it is honestly a lot more tours. We love getting in the room. The energy in the room is so fantastic, especially with the teens and young adults. And then I also do an adult one as well, and we focus on parenting and things like that. But the kids are really my heart. The teens and the young adults are really my heart. I had mentors in my life. I was blessed to have them. I was blessed to have incredible parents. And so I realized that impact that they can have. I have a 19-year-old that I spoke with yesterday that said that I said, who was your biggest imprint? And it was a 6th grade teacher. And to this day, he can remember everything about it. So we have those people in our lives. And to know that we're creating leaders in this world that actually go out and impact other people, that is really what the work is about. So the tours, we're going to do university tours, which I'm super excited about. We're going to do smaller venue tours. We're also going to continue to do workshops and then the one-on-ones as well. And more curriculum for sure is coming but it's got to be something that's relevant. And that's really why we have teen ambassadors that we work with. They help keep everything in order of relevancy within their world. And then I work with the parents through the Courageous Parenting Mastermind, that they actually understand the difficulties that they're facing today. And with whatever adversity comes around, we can actually address it and then move past it.
And my final question, for someone who is struggling or in the fight for their mental health or is needing a mentor or someone to speak to, what encouragement can you offer them, or what advice would you give to them as they're on this journey?
To sit quietly with yourself, to turn out the noise and the white noise and turn it off, to realize that no one else can do it for you. We look for magic bullets when we're trying to get in shape. We look for that one thing that's going to make our life perfect, but we don't realize that that's why the self-help industry is billions of dollars, right? And we're conditioned to that. We're addicted to that. But nothing works unless you do. And when you decide to show up and work, everything changes. And it can be something so simple that hits you on the right day, or it can be work that you do over time. And one of the things that most people come to me and when they're ready to change, like you asked, they say, I want to be the greatest version of myself. And my question to them is always, well, what is that? Because to me, the greatest version of yourself is knowing that you'll never get there, that the journey is always the next level, raising the bar every single time, keeping your standards high, because when you hit that, you'll go again. And when you do that, you reach that greatness that you're so fearful of on the other side. So it's really sitting with yourself. It's being honest with yourself, because we're really good at telling ourselves lies. And so when you can be honest with yourself and realizing you're ready, and then have someone that's going to hold you accountable. Radical accountability is your friend. Adversity is your friend. So get used to being uncomfortable.
Love it. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Mwah.